Look at that guy right there.
Amazing.
I'm telling you.
It's probably what needs to happen to my saxophone playing.
Whatever. That's good looking stuff right there.
Oh, gosh.
Not sure what that one was.
I don't either. Oh, actually, I do.
We dig deep, brother.
You're going back into the archives.
We did. We had to do like a stone rubbing to get that one.
Man, that's like over 10 years ago. That's like 13 years ago. That's back when we could first get onto Facebook.
Daniel,
That's my
don't be so
Chad
quiet.
impression.
Yeah. What's up?
Or Walter White, whichever one you want to go with.
Phil, you're coming in a little quiet.
Oh, am I?
Who, me?
Oh, that's good. There you go.
I'm holding back. I'm sorry. Are we like people hear us right now?
Oh, yeah. We keep the mics on. This is a professional show.
All right. Well, then I will talk as if I'm talking as opposed to whispering.
What does that mean? To talk as if you're talking?
Well, it's an interesting question, but this show's all about being murky, so I'm just going to let it sit.
I think we got the quote for the show,
Jen
and we can
Cole.
end it now.
OMG,
That's it.
it's Jen Cole here.
Jen Cole. Wow, she's never here this early. She must like you.
I don't know.
Jen Cole usually gets here as the show ends and just tries to pretend she watched it.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
She must have got an early start on her wine sipping today.
One of my favorite things to do when I was in Wichita was there was a time it was just me and Jen, and we just got to hang out at her friend's craft beer place, the Gnome. What's the name?
Oh, yeah.
The Hoppy Gnome.
Hopping Gnome.
And we just sat there and just chatted. It was really nice. Really nice.
We got Jen laughing already. That's a good place to start. Hey, Joanne. I guess my cheerleading squad is here, Chad, so you're in trouble. Anything you say will be held against you.
Hey, it's better to have a cheerleading squad than what some of the people bring with them.
Yes, I'm sure.
Oh, man.
What?
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. We're just ignoring you.
I'm used to.
So, Jen, Chad's threatening to try to convince Lainey that they need to move to Wichita instead of Colorado. I think we need to like put the full court press on.
Right? Start send Lainey just all this great stuff about Wichita, and we just need to suck her in. I just need to get her there once. I love it. It's like this big little small town.
It's a great place, and it's only 8 hours from Colorado. So, it's
exactly, which is half, how far it is.
Here's what you need to do is tell her 150 years ago, Colorado was part of Kansas. So we can just we can go with that.
So it's like Colorado, but not Colorado, but was Colorado.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, to Wichita. We got more Wichita in the house.
And see, right. It's interesting is, to me, Taylor Stevenson is the one negative.
That's the one negative. Well, to each his own.
Taylor, do it. Well, do you have the whole city here with you today?
Well, it's either my team or the city of Wichita. I invited both. So, you're outnumbered either way.
That's funny.
I actually didn't invite anyone other than just sharing it on Facebook. So it's pretty cool.
Hey, we only have a few seconds left. This is your last chance to get out.
Well, you already did compliment me that I was one of your more intelligent guests. So wow. I think I'm probably done about right now.
There's a reason that app is a private message.
Well, you noticed I did change what you said. I need to get my trainer on here watching this.
Wow.
Impressive.
I'm telling you. Like, don't tick him off on the show today. It looks like he could whip us.
You tell me all the time. You tell me stuff all the time, but I never listen. So
I'm not
doesn't
hearing
matter.
Daniel.
Can you hear me, Chad?
I can hear you just fine.
I don't hear him.
Because I have somebody whispering in my ear that they can't hear me. Maybe they're not supposed to hear me.
They can't hear you?
As usual.
Can hear you. Could hear the music. I don't hear Daniel.
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah, I hear you.
Well, while Chad is trying to deal with some technical issues here, I'm going to introduce the show. Welcome, everybody, to Subpellucid. The show. What? The show. Where's Chad now?
I'm here.
This is Subpellucid.
I'm here. Yeah.
The show where we don't know what the heck we're doing. This is going to be awesome. We've got a great guest with us today. First of all, my co-host, that way, Mr. Chad E. Peterson, who produces the show.
Unless there's something wrong, in which case Daniel's in charge.
I'm not going to say I'm in charge here. I'm just going to say Chad produces the show. When it's if you love it, give him some loving. If you don't,
yeah, I'm not hearing Daniel at all.
No. And there we go. So I'm just stalling, as you can see, because Chad is trying to figure out some audio issues here.
Well, it's weird. Hey, guys, if you're watching, first of all, my condolences. Second of all, can you hear me? And can you hear Phil? And can you hear who? Can you hear? Let us know who you can hear.
This is Phil. Can you hear me?
That's I do pass the buck, so they can hear me, and nobody is commenting, hey, I can't hear anybody else. So,
well, how could they know that they're not hearing somebody? You can know that you can hear somebody. You don't know that you can't hear somebody.
Can you hear
I don't know.
Jen?
I hear both of you.
They can hear all of us. It's just Daniel and I can't hear each other. That's very strange.
I can hear Phil. Phil can't hear me. This is the weirdest thing ever.
That is a new one. That's really a new one.
Haha. Well, this will be interesting. So
yeah. Hey Phil,
I'm not going to be able to ask Phil any questions.
You can hear Phil, though, right?
You have to translate my questions to Phil.
I hear you, Chad, but you're not even sounding great. Do you want me to leave and come back?
I don't know. We've never had this issue before. This is weird.
They're saying Daniel's cutting in and out. Am I cutting in and out?
Yeah.
No, I hear you just fine.
Selective hearing.
Yeah, my computer is running slow. I've got issues, guys.
It sounds like it's more on Daniel's than anything.
You know what? Why don't you start the show without me? I'll be back.
Okay. We'll be here.
You'll be there.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm not used to doing this part. But hey, it's Subpellucid, and we just assume everything is going to go very poorly. So our guest today, as many of you've heard in the background and saw him doing his beach body monster hulkinating workout routine there, is the world-renowned ripped event coordinator, Phil Mershon, who, when he's not busy shredding, is also in the ministry. So we're going to bring him in while Daniel tried turning it off and turning it back on. I just wanted to get into the holiday spirit.
And you want to hear that again? I mean, we can do that live.
Well, yeah, absolutely. Live, ladies and gentlemen.
There you go. In reverse.
That is awesome. Can you do it in a minor key?
Yeah.
Awesome. Here we go.
That's not quite minor, but close enough.
Yeah, it was minor-ish. So
it was minor-ish. It was modal more than minor. So that's right.
Wow, this is so weird to not have Daniel here with us. So he has parts of this that he does. So we're gonna kind of, I guess, wing it as we go. And I'll tell you what, we'll just move into the next segment of things the way we normally do it. And when he shows up, or if he shows up, we'll just do it. Well,
Lord,
let's see. Funny. Live Sax through Facebook. So see that was heard. And this guy's back. Can you hear each other?
I still do not hear Daniel.
Oh, and what about now?
How about now?
Nope.
He's just doesn't. I think it's psychosomatic.
Is he? See if he's muted on your screen for some reason.
Where would I check that?
Let's kind of hover over his video there, and this is how we're troubleshoot. This is also a tech troubleshooting show here. It's live.
If we could, I'm just sitting back and enjoying this. Usually, I'm the one behind. I'm the one producing.
Across Daniel's screen down in the bottom left, but I can't seem to affect it.
Huh. That is interesting.
Are you hearing me, Daniel?
I'm hearing you. Oh, yes, but you can't hear my response.
On my end somehow.
But somehow he figured out that I said yes. I can't hear now. I see. Okay, so how about we start the show without Phil? And we'll just
start without Phil. That makes no sense at all.
That would be like the episode where Nancy interviewed Tim Sohn, who never showed up. Except here, Phil did show up, and it's even worse.
That is too funny.
That was a crazy thing, guys. If you haven't seen this, look it up. Nancy, are you in the audience? That was crazy.
So
Nancy's episode was hilarious. Look up Subpellucid on YouTube, subscribe, and look for Nancy.
Come back, Chad, with that maybe.
Hey, you know what? At this point, we can try everything. We may even just start a whole new show, new theme.
All right, let me try. You guys talk. I'll be
right. So
as soon as I go.
Today's show is just going to be everyone coming in and out and backwards and forward. And how
about we get to know Chad?
This is the weirdest thing ever.
I'm all about. Okay, let's guys in the comments. Ask Chad a question you wanted to know about him. I mean, he's pretty public. He writes everything in excruciating detail. I mean, he will post all kinds of stuff. But what is it that you really want to know about Chad?
It's like
there's the kind of stuff that he doesn't post.
Good morning, Anita.
Let's find out.
It's like a whole different audience here, and it's great. We brought in a whole different group of people here, and you guys are getting to see what a train wreck this show is technically. Visually appealing, technically appalling.
So Chad, have you seen any good Netflix shows recently?
Glitch. Have you seen Glitch? I think it's an Australian show. So there's that.
Joanna wants to know why are you moving to Colorado?
Amy has always wanted to do that. There's a lot of family there.
So Laney's moving to Colorado, and you're moving with Laney.
I should probably. Yeah. Have you been there? I love it. It's beautiful. She has a lot of family there. I love the mountains. But for me, it wasn't until we got married and started traveling there that I kind of, grew to love it. But she's always, since forever, she's always wanted to go there and move there. She was close to moving there right before we started dating. So I kind of screwed that up for her, I guess. Other than that, I hope everybody's enjoying Phil Mershon today, our special guest on what might as well be our first ever episode, because we appear to not have a clue whatsoever as to what we're doing here. In full transparency and disclosure, I ask myself that question every show. And
well, to be fair to Chad, this setup is highly. I mean, we push it to the limits. We do something that's like really. We try to get something really complicated, and really innovative and weird, technically and creatively. Mm-hmm. And we're okay with that. So this is not what you would see, for instance, if Chad or me were on, like an official live show anywhere else but Subpellucid. This is for our experimentation, our fun, and so on, and that's great. And that's awesome. But I can tell you, Chad is reliable 100%. Me, not so much.
Well, let's see if we can bring Phil back on here. Looks like he's back. 1 second here, and I will cross your fingers. That really the biggest problem is that just the two of you guys not being able to hear each other.
Well, I can hear Phil, so it's really his problem. Aha! And we're back.
Well, all right. So that's our time for today. Can you guys hear each other now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, indeed.
Oh, it's like a Christmas miracle that I wish would have happened 20 minutes ago.
Well, so let's get on with the show, guys. This segment it's called Getting to Know You, which take a few minutes to get to know Phil Mershon. Not the Phil in his business title that we usually know, but Phil, the person, the human being. And we have a couple of questions for you that we prepared. And if anybody in the audience wants to join in and throw in a question, why don't you do that? Throw it in as well. Chad, you want to go first?
Well, one of the things that was brought to my attention, first of all, by Daniel, so blame him. But understand is that you have a birthday about a month away. Is that correct?
It is close to a month away. It is true.
And based on our calculations, and age-wise, and the average amount of sleep people get, Daniel, in his apparent need for more things to occupy his time, figured out that you would have spent 18 years asleep.
How
does that? Well, as you think, if you think about that, you spent 18 years of asleep. How does that make you feel to think that?
That sounds like a lot of time to be asleep. Sounds like you ought to call me Rip Van Winkle. But it's sobering. But it is what it is. Like, we need that much sleep. That's probably about right. I mean, maybe a little bit more, a little bit less, but that's probably close.
Yeah, I guess if I never thought about it at 8 hours. If you do it 8 hours a day, if anybody actually gets that, whatever, it's a third of the time you're alive.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm guessing you're going to be 54.
No, I'm actually going to be older than that.
So what I should have guessed was that Daniel's math was horrible.
Well, it's close. That's why I was trying to do some quick math there in my head, but I'll be 56. I'm not afraid to say that. So,
gotcha.
Yeah. But, given that there were some years where I definitely got a lot less than that, and then some years where I was a baby and got a lot more than that, it probably averages to be about somewhere in the 18 years range.
Yeah, it's amazing the kind of stuff you can find about people. Like, for instance, how much time they spent during their life sleeping. But but I'm more interested in your musical choices. I know you like jazz. I know you're a big jazz fan. Yeah. What are some of your favorite artists? What do you like? What do you listen to?
Yeah, so if I'm listening to jazz, and I'm listening to jazz saxophone in particular, when I'm working, I actually like listening to a guitar player named Phil Keggy, who isn't necessarily a jazz player, he's just a phenomenal guitar player. But jazz-wise, Kirk Whalum is someone I love listening to. When he was alive, Michael Brecker, and I still listen to his music. He's like someone who pushes me out of my comfort zone. I like Yellow Jackets. Bob Mintzer's the sax player with the Yellow Jackets. So you can probably tell I like contemporary, more jazz fusion. I do, if I'm going to go old school, it's going to be John Coltrane. And he's like the guy I would listen to. But I enjoy listening to a lot of other people as well. It's hard for me to listen to tons of jazz because when I listen, I want to play. It's like former athletes have a hard time watching sports because they want to play. And I do struggle with that a little bit listening to music. So I got to be in the right frame of mind to listen to the people that I really appreciate. So there's that.
And I know that there's one musical you like listening to, which is Annie. I know you like Annie, the show.
I definitely like Annie. There's a lot of musicals I enjoy. Yeah. My kids were all involved with musicals, and my wife was involved, and I played in the orchestra for, at least a dozen or 15 of them over the years. So, but Annie's a good show. It's not necessarily my favorite, but it's a good one.
Hey, Phil, I don't know if it's Daniel's louder than you, but I don't know if you need to move a little closer to your mic. You might have one of the... Yeah.
Me? Is this better?
Yeah, absolutely better. Sorry about that interrupt there. But I didn't want people to miss out on this gold that we're delivering right now.
So I'm gonna ask you to do something we've never done in the show before, and that is obviously you're a very well-educated man. You've got a bunch of books behind you. I'd like you to pull out a book at random and tell us what book that is.
Well, I will just say this up front. I'm in my dad's old study. He passed away last year. So most of the books on the shelf are his old medical books, but I will pull something off the shelf for you.
Meanwhile, Daniel's like, well, I didn't think that through. I remember when your dad passed. I wish that's somebody. I wish I could have met him. The tributes and things that you gave to your dad when he passed are real touching. I wish I could have met that guy.
So this book is called My Folks, I thought it was going to be by my grandfather, but it's actually by a lady named Grace Mershon, talking about the family lineage. One of the things my dad was really into was our family tree, and I grew up understanding when the Mershons first came over from France back in the 1600s and all kinds of strange things. Like we owned the land at one point in time that Princeton University sits on today. One of my ancestors donated that land way back when, and I sure wish they'd have kept it and given it to me, but whatever. So yeah, there's a lot of interesting books. My dad loved to read and loved to learn. Most of the books are not mine. So
a topic for a different show.
Yes.
Were y'all there? Okay. Thought I lost people for a second there.
No, you're just slow.
Okay. Well, that's fair enough. Hey, Phil, I've been to Wichita a couple times, and enjoyed it, but something we never kind of talked about, and next time I'm there, I want to do. What's your favorite, little unknown spot or place to go, eat? That's not just your typical touristy thing.
There is a little deli. I don't go there very often because I've discovered recently I'm gluten-free, so I can't eat my favorite thing there. But there's a place called MIF Deli, which is Mediterranean International Foods, I think is what it stands for. I've known it so long as MIF, I'm not positive. But they have the best tabbouleh in Wichita, in my opinion. Tabbouleh is a parsley-based salad that comes out of the Middle East. And they also have something called meat pies. They've got these spinach meat pies that are just amazing. And I grew up on those, and I still, if no one's with me, would go, except now I can't because gluten and me don't get along too well. That's one I would go to that not too many people know about, but those who do are like hardcore fans of the place.
Huh. I'll have to check that out. Unfortunately, I guess if I take you, we have to bring food with us, or
Yep.
Can you?
Jen says she loves it too, so that's good to know that someone else knows about it.
Yeah, it's interesting. So yeah, I assume that Wichita is the kind of place that everybody knows. When you mention the name of a place, everybody kind of knows about it.
Well, it depends if you're east or west side. Like there's a literal divide through Wichita. We call it the Arkansas River. Everywhere else in the country outside of the state of Kansas, it's known as the Arkansas River, but it changes names as it passes through our state. As we like to say, as it arcs its way through Kansas, it's the Arkansas. I don't know how much history is there, why it got changed, but the west side of Wichita has its own set of restaurants, and I don't know the hidden spots on the west side. When I was growing up, they said you had to have a passport to cross the river to get to the other side, which is obviously facetious, but in our minds, we wouldn't travel that way. Now you can because of highways. It's super easy to get from one side of town to the other. But when I was growing up, you get stopped by trains, literally. And you didn't want to go across town because you might get stuck behind a freight train for 10, 15 minutes before it passed. So,
wow.
And that's considered a big deal. So yeah, in Wichita, 10, 15 minute delay is like,
well,
because you guys don't have traffic.
When it takes, I can get from one side to the other now in 15 minutes. So that just puts it in perspective. You're doubling your commute. So yeah, in Chicago, 15 minutes was no big deal, but here it is.
Exactly. Well, there was one story we wanted to hear from you, which is, Chad told me this, that back in 1983, you almost died.
I did.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about that story. What happened?
Yeah, I was just writing about it. I don't know if you found that version or if a different version of the story came to mind for you, Chad. But we went skiing in January of 1983 out to Colorado, funny enough. And I had run cross country the previous fall. So I was in probably the best cardiovascular shape of my life, except maybe when I was doing triathlons. And so we in Kansas, maybe it's like this in Texas, Chad, but when you go skiing, you drive overnight and then you basically get to your hotel, drop your stuff off, and go to the slopes the first day. And that's kind of what we did. And so we hit the slopes and we went hard. My buddy and I were high school seniors and we skied hard and had a great day of skiing. That night, I went back to the hotel and wasn't feeling great, but I just thought I had a cold. So I took some cold medicine and I was feeling pretty groggy. But the next day I was like, hey, we're here to ski. So I went. But after literally just one run, I was like, I can't do it. I can't ski anymore. So I went back. I just thought I'm sick. I just need to sleep it off. Well, everyone came back from skiing. They were having a great time. I was just like in a kind of comatose on the couch watching football or something. And then I didn't feel like eating. They went snow tubing, which, we love to do. This is in Winter Park. And when they came back from snow tubing, I was blue. Like literally, I was blue. They don't have pictures of what I looked like, but they all of a sudden were panicked. My dad's a cardiologist, and sorry, I'll get emotional.
That's all right.
That's fine. Yeah, I'm with you there. I know what that's like.
They rushed me to the local hospital. And they knew instantly what was going on. It wasn't just your normal high altitude sickness. They rushed me to Denver. They got me on oxygen. Within a day, they had me calm down. But if this had happened at night instead of while they were awake, I would have died. If it had been a couple hours later, I'd have had brain damage, which you could argue I did anyway. But yeah, it's a miracle that they came back when they did, and that they could get me down as quickly as they we're able to, but it's something that normally doesn't happen. And for skiers, it's normally something that happens when you're climbing 14ers or higher. But because I was in such good cardiovascular shape, my lungs didn't adjust to the high altitude quickly enough. So I wasn't getting enough oxygen in. So there was an imbalance in my lungs, and I was literally drowning on fluids. And so, yeah, it's a pretty intense story. And when I remember it, it reminds me I'm alive for a reason.
Yeah, I appreciate you sharing that with us. Yeah. I think, a lot of people, know the show because we laugh, we have fun, it's an escape or whatever. But the main reason for the show, and Daniel, I've said that before, is for people to get to know more about, especially in our circles, in our industry, to get to know each other a little bit better. And so I appreciate you sharing that with us.
Yeah. Well, thank you for allowing me to. I mean, to me, it's a great story because there's this thing about when something like that happens, you've got a sense of destiny. Like, there's a reason why you're still alive. And so it gives you a greater sense of drive to want to do things. We all know that we're not guaranteed tomorrow, but when you've had an experience or a brush with death, and we get comfortable and we take it for granted and we move on, we forget about that. I do. I can go years sometimes without thinking about it, but obviously it's still very emotional. So I think it's important to have those reasons that are bigger than, the next event you're doing, the next live show you're doing, whatever, the next blog post, there's something bigger to life. And I think that, to me, is my connection to that bigger purpose.
We appreciate you just helping us get to a little bit of a deeper level on this show. Typically, we don't get much deeper than what color Daniel's hair is going to be this week.
Well, we could go there.
Well, that is right now. That's one of my biggest worries in life, and that's a blessing. I'm deeply aware that this is that I'm in a very good period in my life right now. A lot of people are hurting. Last recession, the Great Recession that happened, that was not easy for my family and I.
Yeah.
We prepared for it. We knew it would come again. It was just a matter of time. I predicted it would be right around now because roughly 10 years after. And the exact timing, of course, with COVID was not easy, but it was. But this time around, we're the fortunate ones, and I know full well what it's like being in the other side of things. And so I'm in one hand, I'm very empathetic and trying to help whoever I can, and on the other hand, I'm also feel very fortunate and to because I know what it's like. So yeah, so I have the luxury of enjoying having hair color, and I'm going to have fun with that. Sue me.
Wow.
my kids don't.
Phil, please don't take that as any kind of cheap shot by him also bragging about his hair. Okay.
So there is a phenomena here. I've seen this. I've seen this around that hipster types, they will start dyeing their beards. So that is an option to go with a bright blue or bright green.
Well, it is an option. Yeah. As far as I'm dyeing my hair white right now.
The nude color is in.
It's a distinguished look.
All right. I'll tell you what, we've got a fun little thing planned for you that we made just for you. And so if everybody's good, let's go ahead and move into that.
This should be a piece of cake. So this is a segment, a quiz. We have quiz. We like quizzes. And we put a little quiz together for you called How ICT Can You Be? Because as you know, but nobody else does, ICT is the nickname for
Wichita. But
Wichita.
You know why? Do you know why?
I can guess. I can guess. I can guess exactly why.
You probably know because you did your research, so it's not a guess.
No, I would have guessed it anyway. The minute I saw it, I guessed it because whenever I see three-letter capital codes, I know it's an airport code.
It is.
Yeah.
But,
now, why
actually,
ICT?
I think it was Intercontinental Terminal or something like that. I don't know exactly though. I'm making that up. But there was a reason why it's ICT, more than it sort of comes from the name Wichita. But I couldn't tell you.
Uh-huh. Okay, so we wanted to know, we put together some slang, some local slang, which we couldn't quite figure out.
Okay.
And we wanted you to explain it to us a bit.
Right.
What does it mean? And let's see if you can, if you know, and if you can explain it in a way that we would understand. So, Dad, hit us with the first.
All righty. Well,
that's the Midwest. What we're seeing now is the Great Plains.
Yes. That's Kansas.
I'm trying to figure out where you went.
A rain out during tornado season.
Yeah. It's a dust bowl right there.
Yeah, Chad, there is some kind of weird sound going on with your mic. I didn't know if anyone else could hear it, but
oh yeah, everybody was too polite to say anything until Leo Mandel showed up and said and pointed it out. Yeah.
Yeah, we're having all kinds of fun here today. Let's see. Why are our little words not showing up?
Oh, we can just read them out.
Let's just do that.
Let's do that. So the first one would be, tell me if I'm pronouncing this correctly. Jubara.
Yep.
What?
Jabara.
What is
well,
that?
There's a Jabara airport. So Wichita surprisingly has a large Lebanese population here, and I'm not sure why they moved here, but Jabara is one of the significant families, and there's an airport. Also, one of the professors at Wichita State in the entrepreneurial department was a Jabara. So there's a lot of different things that have been built by Jabaras in this town, and the airport is probably the one that you found. But that there's a carpet store, there's a bunch of them. So yeah, it's a family.
It's a family name. Okay, got it. Jabara. So it's a thing. What about Duda?
Yeah, Duda is a name that was adopted for Wichita among a crowd younger than me. And I was away from about 99 till 2010. And when I came back, it's like Duda was what people were calling the place. But it's just a down home kind of name, Duda. It's what locals will call it. There's a diner that for me has kind of been associated with it, but I don't know exactly where it came from. It's definitely urban slang that developed among the hip crowd a little bit younger than I.
Yeah, I just realized that you changed your name to Brian. I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right. I'm going to be Brian Kramer for the rest of today. So, you know, Brian, sorry.
Brian with a Y. So it's okay. What about Big Ditch? The Big Ditch. What's that?
Yeah, there's a canal that was built for irrigation purposes on the west side of town, next to one of our turnpikes, and it was a big deal when it was made. But I don't know like all of the history, but it was a pretty significant project in this town, and now people just know when you talk about the Big Ditch that they're talking about this canal that's on the west side of town that sometimes get filled with water during rainy season.
Yeah, we in Boston we have the Big Dig, which is the largest engineering project in the world, except for Windows operating system, which had more engineers working on it than any other project ever, by far. Yeah, that doesn't say that's not a very good thing for Windows, I guess, for Microsoft. What about Bragg and Douglas?
Bragg and Douglas?
Dragon Douglas.
Oh, Dragon Douglas. Oh, yeah. So this is definitely way bigger when I was growing up in high school than it is now. and it's kind of morphed over the years, but that was the main drag through town. So Douglas, if you were to draw a picture of Wichita, Douglas would be right in the middle, east-west. And it was the street that, people with hot rods or high schoolers who wanted to go be seen or wanted to go see everyone else, particular boys and girls looking to see people or meet up, or they wanted to show off their cars. So there was eras of time where that happened, but it had its history because it was also, there were a lot of really cool stores and restaurants along that street. It's pretty. It's, it has changed over the generations of how people drag Douglas, and it's not really done so much anymore because they made it harder to do. They narrowed the street and they put a lot more businesses and flowers and murals. Like there's this whole business initiative to make it pretty and renovate downtown. But yeah, in my era, when I was in high school, if you didn't have anything else to do, which pretty much in Kansas, when you're 18 or 17 and you can't go drink, you can't do other things, then you go drag Douglas and hope you don't get stopped by the police.
Or you accumulate hours of sleep. They can do that as well.
Well, there is that. Or you go tip cows.
I always thought that was an urban legend.
Well, it is, but as far as it isn't.
Exactly. What about, I don't know how to pronounce this. I'm not sure. Cow.
Say it again.
Cow. K-A-W.
K-A-W.
It would be pronounced cow.
I couldn't tell you for sure what that stands for, if it's an acronym or I think it's probably CAW, but
CAW.
Sure.
Yeah. Supposedly the Kansas River from what I understood, but
maybe that's where, I don't know. Yeah, I couldn't tell you.
I don't even know what. Yeah, I don't know. So this was a funny thing. I know of puppy chow as being just like dog food, like that you can buy in a supermarket, but apparently over there, over in the center, right smack in the center of the United States, puppy chow is something else.
It's
all
not. I know puppy chow as is dog food. So if it's something else,
food.
If it's something else, then you've got me.
Well, according to some website, it was some kind of snack, but I couldn't get some kind of human food, but I couldn't figure out what the heck it was. So it kind of looked like puppy chow. I don't know. Okay. How about this? Safe cracker. Does that ring a bell?
Not like it's something that's local, other than what I see in movies of people who can crack safes. But no, I have no idea.
It sounded fishy to me. It was something about somebody from West Wichita that is maybe living in the safe zone and kind of has a boring life or something like that. Or I'm not sure. Yeah. Okay. Just for the heck of it, Emma Stone.
Emma Stone?
Yeah.
Oh, Emma
Stone.
Nope.
Yeah. Well, she played a character in the movie Zombieland, and the character was named Wichita. So I threw that in there because I thought that would be
there we go.
A stomper. There you go. So yeah, not your thing, zombie movies.
No, zombie movies and I don't usually get along. So they run away from me is what happens when
Zombies
I play
run away from you.
No.
Amy wants you to play the sax. You missed the sax, Amy, but we might get it again.
You never know.
Okay, 2 more to go.
All right.
BTK.
BTK, yeah, bind, torture, kill. It's a very famous local case from the 70s. A man who was literally going around, and he had a day job that gave him access to people's house so he could scout it out, and he would go in and bind and kill women. And it created quite a fear in this town, because I remember it very well in the 70s. Like, everyone was afraid. They were locking their doors and locking their cars because no one knew where this guy was. And then, like, maybe 30 years later, he started writing about it, boasting to the police and the community that no one ever found him, turns out the guy had become a deacon or an elder in a local church, and he was using the church's computer and stationery, and they tracked him down through the computer and the stationery and put him away finally after, all those years. But he killed, I don't remember how many, but at least 5 or 6 women and maybe 1 man. And then actually got active again after a long period of time. It was one of the most bizarre cases in our local area, and it definitely put the fear of God in you back in the 70s when he was going around. No one knew his rhyme or reason.
Wow. Okay, last one. EMAW. How do you pronounce it, or do you just
EMA?
say
Yeah,
EMA?
every man a wildcat. So it's really more of a Kansas State thing. I actually had to go look it up because I saw people posting that. I'm not a K-Stater. I went to college out of state, but yeah, every man a wildcat. So it's and I don't know why they go with M since women use it too, but it's their kind of their hashtag for Kansas athletics, particularly football, I think, but definitely people I know who go into K-State, they use it whenever they're posting about anything related to the school.
Got it. Well, that sums it up. So that was this. You got some flavorful language over there. It's pretty cool, pretty cute.
We don't have much else to do. We make up words and.
My favorite is the fact that you call the Arkansas River the Arkansas River, which sometimes I would if I don't think, I would read the state Arkansas, because I didn't grow up in the States, so for me it's not trivial, and so it makes me feel happy that there's somebody else out there that calls it.
Well, you won't like this one, because my house lives close to Central and a street called Greenwich instead of Greenwich. And because I've lived out of Kansas as much as I've lived in Kansas, and I've traveled overseas, I still have a hard time calling it Greenwich. And it's right next to me. But they correct you here in town. The first one they'll correct you on is if you call it the Arkansas River, they will correct you in a heartbeat. They don't have any problems calling the state Arkansas, because it is a state. But if you call it the river, the Arkansas, you're going to get corrected immediately. And then soon after that, you'll get corrected about Greenwich if you pronounce it Greenwich.
Here's something about you. I learned that you actually went to school here in Massachusetts. And as part of that, you did not?
No, I went to Wheaton College that's in Chicago. Not the one in Massachusetts is a girls' college, or it was when I was in school, at least. So
there you go.
Been pretty impossible for me to go there back then.
It would have been a wise move, though.
Could have.
But as part of your schooling, you actually spent a semester in was it Kenya?
I did actually 2 semesters, 7 months
2 semesters.
In Kenya. Mm-hmm.
And you can actually speak a little Swahili, from what I understand.
Nice.
Jambo sana bwana. Habari gani?
Oh, wow, nice.
You don't want to know.
Jambo bana.
Hey guys,
Jambo
really
bana.
Because my audio is wacky.
It is.
Suits the man. It suits you. I think you should keep it that way. Thanks. So, should we move on to the next segment, Chad?
You bet.
Yeah. If Brian agrees. Bacon heater. Bacon, yeah, and it's gluten free, so it's good. Chilling with the guru. This is the section where we kind of ask you about things that you are a guru at, that you're an expert in. In this case, you are in fact a bit of that, because you're a spiritual man, and so as far as we're concerned, it's kind of similar. So we wanted to ask you just a couple of questions.
And if I do it, I will use my robot voice.
Yeah, there you go. Go for it, Chad.
I guess that's what it sounds like. I have no idea. This is one of the things we've been consistent with here on this show is something always doesn't go right.
Nice.
So look, Man in the Pew. Great name, awesome group that you're a part of. We want you to tell us about it, but we also would like you to give us some tips or ideas on how to come up with catchy names like that.
Well, the story of how I came up with that one probably will not lead you to very many catchy names, because that one came literally while I was walking on a beach praying and asking about what I should do in a particular year, about 6 years ago, I guess. So that's probably not a normal means of coming up with creative names, but there are other creative things that you can do. So a lot of times what I'll do is free association. Start with a word. There are sites out there that you can put random words together, like Band Namer. I don't know if that's the name of it, but if you look up how to name a band, you're going to come up with a site where you throw in words and it's going to spit back to you a bunch of interesting ideas of taking those words and synonyms and throwing them. But you can do the same thing by yourself. You can just play some free association games and take words and start thinking about what are related words. And what if I threw some of those words together? And that will lead you to some things that could be really interesting. And then you try them on. And that would be a thought for you. Chad, you're good at that kind of stuff, so you could probably teach about it more than I can.
I try.
He's trying to say as little as possible because he knows that his microphone is out of whack. We know his microphone's out of whack, everybody. And thank you for all of those instant messages I'm getting here. Bang, bang, bang. Chad's microphone isn't working well. Yes.
I want a t-shirt that says, my microphone is out of whack.
So I wanted to ask you something, because you're a musician, and I really love the fact that you play the saxophone. I really, really like it. It's one of my favorite instruments after the clarinet.
I could learn quickly when I was young. Take me a lot longer to learn now, because the muscle memory is harder to develop. But I think it's totally possible. Your brain probably works in a better way for understanding how music works, in a way that as a kid you don't get it. You're just kind of doing things by rote. So I think there's some things that will speed up your learning, and there's some things that you're just going to have to realize this is going to take repetition to get my hands to do this. But I totally believe you can. There's lots of great stories of people who've picked up instruments later in life and done extremely well with it.
Nice.
People are telling me there's no sound at all.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Can you hear?
Chad, your sound is back and it's normal.
Yay.
Yeah, but nobody else. But we can hear each other. Nobody else can hear us. Does that make any sense?
Zero.
No.
Hello,
the
word.
sound is back.
Can you hear us? We could just say whatever the heck we want and say, long live the spaghetti monster.
No, they said the sound was back, so
it's back?
They
it's back.
Yeah.
It's back. Oh, okay. So as we were saying, that's exactly how you make $10 million overnight. And
yeah, we'll keep that secret to ourselves. Yep.
Wow.
Okay. Pinky D is saying, all back to normal now. Normal is not the word I would use to describe any of this.
No,
So
this has been fun.
What is this? Fun is not. Yeah. Thank you, everybody. I have no clue why why we're doing this. I have no idea why you're doing this with us. So
people come here for two reasons, right? They come here to learn more about people and to see what might just blow up.
Exactly. And hopefully it's not our guest. Although that has happened once. So I think it's high time we moved on to the next segment, which is the fun segment. This is a great part. I love this segment.
Yeah.
As soon as Chad hits,
we need it.
Button.
Phil, thank you for being patient and loving and all those things.
My pleasure.
Well, that might be pushing it.
I'm dreaming of social marketing world, just like the one 4 months ago, where the skies are dreamy, the Wi-Fi is streaming, and you know you want to come, don't you? Hey everyone, out here doing some planning for social media marketing.
Oh man, bittersweet reminiscence of something called social media marketing world. It was a place that people used to go to once a year and have a ton of fun and learn a couple of things along the way, and meet good friends and party like hell. It was awesome.
It was good times. So, hey guys, if you're with us, we're running a little long. It's Daniel's fault. We just have had some issues today. Listen, Phil, this segment, of course, we call Explain This. And so that's what we want you to do. And just, we're just going to go through a few photos and just things that we found on your social media profiles. And just kind of let you give us, tell us the story, what's going on. And so we'll just start with this group of, suspicious characters.
Yeah. So after social media marketing one year, one of the local hotels there in San Diego invited me and some friends to go to a Padres baseball game. So that's Eric Fisher and Jeff C. And I believe Jason Goff was with us and one other gentleman whose name I'm forgetting. But yeah, we were there feasting on great food and watching a baseball game that I have no idea who won.
Looks like a fun time. Can you explain what this particular position means?
Yeah, that looks like when I was watching your talk at Social Media Day Denver, and I was like, what in the world is he talking about? I can't figure it out.
Wow, I did not think that through at all.
Backfire.
Wow. I appreciate you being there, though. You gave me some great feedback, and it helped me with my future speaking gigs that never happened because of COVID.
Yeah. Man, that was a year ago. Can you believe that?
It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. This, I believe, was a little longer than a year ago.
Yes. That would have been me as part of a picture with the Wheaton College Men's Glee Club. I have no idea what's happening because you've cropped the picture. But
to protect the innocent.
To protect the innocent wisely, yes. It looks like I was attempting a beard, which was not very long-lived at that point in my life.
Wait, so Wheaton College is a women's college?
No, there's a Christian Wheaton College that's in Chicago. It's a private school in the suburbs of Chicago, and that's where I attended.
I think Daniel was making an attempt at a joke that
well
didn't work at all.
Yeah, backfired again.
Yeah. Daniel's like, I liked it better when Chad's mic didn't work.
My jokes are like Chad's producing skills.
They're
It's,
hit and miss.
but that was generous of you.
That's great.
Generous to your jokes or my production?
My jokes.
Hey, this next one, I'm not 100% sure if this is you. So if not, apologies.
It is. You got me. I was on a retreat with our church, middle school or high school. I would guess based on the look, it was probably middle school, getting some ice cream or something. Who knows what? At a place called Westminster Woods, a favorite place that we went about an hour and a half from Wichita. Many amazing memories at that camp.
I got the feeling that you were serving someone else, maybe.
Actually, it does look like I'm serving, now that you say it, serving somebody ice cream or whatever that is. I can't tell.
Looks like dirty rice.
So,
Yeah.
so at
I
night
think
when you
it's
sneak out,
it's puppy chow. I think that's what it is.
there you go. I knew it was a human thing. I knew it. So was that a kind of camp that at night you'd sneak out and smoke a joint together and whatever?
Let's just say people probably did. That wasn't my way. But I'm sure that people did that kind of thing at that camp. There was certainly sneaking out, and I may or may not know about people sneaking out and skinny dipping in the lake and things of this nature. So
Now, is that red? Is that red hair?
no, that's a tent and the filter. It's an old picture. I had very dark hair at that point.
Gotcha. Okay.
But never red.
I'm going to use that excuse next time.
Nice. I mean, you have to like it. That's about all there is to say. Content marketing world and photo booth.
Okay. Fair enough.
Jay Bear. He gave a Christmas gift one year of a scarf, and there I am showing it off. It's a nice gift.
Very nice.
I like the hat.
Yeah.
Thank you. Digging the hat.
Very nice.
I was going to have it for this show today, but I misplaced it this morning. So I literally couldn't find it.
I know there's a story here.
Oh boy. Yeah. That's when I was a James Bond double. Did you know about that?
I heard the story.
This is the fictitious story because you're the story catcher. Because I got tired of telling the real story. So the real story is I was foolishly roller skating at 50 some years old around a bunch of teenagers, and I fell and busted my wrist and tore a ligament. So I'm wearing a cast. So I had to come up with a better story because I just got tired of saying that. So my better story was they were looking for a double in the new James Bond movie, and we were doing this skydiving scene, and my parachute failed to open until too late, but I walked away with just a broken wrist. So that's the better story. Go. But yeah, the signatures are all the people that wanted to sign it, because at the time I was actually living in Utah, and my wife was here and was there to help support one of our family members. And so people virtually sent me their name so they could sign my cast before we had virtual cast parties, I guess you could say. So I had a virtual cast party where some Utah friends signed my cast, and on behalf of people all over the world, literally. People who said they wanted it signed sent their name, and someone locally signed for them.
By the way, cool. For those of you who weren't sure, Daniel was using a filter and trying to be funny. His image wasn't pixelated. It wasn't another tech issue. That was actually intentional. I know it's hard to tell the difference on this show, but that was on purpose. All right, what about right here?
So you got that from a post that I did talking about being cross-eyed.
Correct.
So Yep.
You want to fill us in? What was it about?
I believe that's on my blog called to Worship. And it was during Lent, which is the season leading up to Easter. And I was talking about several ways, I don't remember the name of the post, to be cross-eyed, meaning focusing on the cross of Jesus, but I decided to be funny in the picture I put on the article and be cross-eyed in the other way. So,
well, it's a good look.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Who's this guy?
Yeah, that's still me. But when that's from my wedding. I was married 25 years ago, coming up on 26. So, yeah.
I told Daniel I thought it was Fred Astaire's stunt double.
I thought this was a picture from an episode of Frasier.
Funny enough, in the early 90s, I had long hair because I wanted to look like Frasier from his days in Cheers. So,
we did not find any of those.
Well, that's because I can't find any of those, and I'm hoping no one ever resurrects me. So, what did I put on the back of my head? Oh, that's from, what does it say? I can't read it.
HPS Live.
Okay, that's what I thought. Heroic Public Speaking Live. So, they gave us some kind of temporary tats at the conference, and I decided to put it in the back of my head because I could, since I shaved my head. So
awesome. All right, just two more.
That is actually kind of cool idea. Put temporary tats on your head. I would shave my head just to put temporary tats on it.
Yeah. Oh my. I have
like a repressed memory
of doing things like this, but I don't have the context of who the other person is in the picture, so I can't tell you where it was. It must have been Megan Powers. I'm almost positive Megan Powers was in this picture, only because she just chimed in here. I have no idea where this was, what it was. It was probably at a conference or in an airport. That would be my guess, but I can't remember for sure.
Gotcha. All right. And what about here?
Yeah. So my jazz name is Philmonius, which takes the name of Thelonious Monk and pulls it together with Phil. And there's also Philharmonic. So it kind of like combines harmonious and Phil and Thelonious Monk and all those things combined together. And it's the name I use for my songwriting as well as for my jazz playing. And a guy named Greg designed that cool logo for me a number of years ago. Gosh, I was gigging a lot in the early, Daniel, you were talking about the Great Recession and the impact it had. So, I was working 5 jobs in 2010 trying to replace one job income wise, and sax playing was one of those things that I did. And out of doing that was birthed, hey, I need to create a website and let people know that I play. So I did that for a few years, and then the day job became much busier, and I don't play nearly as much as I used to.
Awesome.
Well, I absolutely love the name. I think the name is fantastic. Yeah.
Oh, and the songs, PS on the songs comes from Psalms, like in the Bible. So it was kind of a little bit of a toss there to my spiritual background, and most people don't even notice that. But
no, I picked up on that.
Yeah, I noticed. So,
all right, cool.
And I mean, I go to church, so of course I picked it up. Daniel's a complete heathen, and he caught it. So,
hey, awesome.
He's got nothing.
Whatever. I'm like, whatever.
So I see a bull that I think's about to charge me. I'm in a rodeo rink. There's like a saddle horse. This guy doing some gymnastics on a pommel horse.
I don't know what that was. We may
The
have
only
edited
time
that
in my
all.
life I've worn VR goggles and someone captured it on film.
Yeah.
Kathy
It was
Hackle.
like,
I know exactly who it is. It's Kathy because that's the
It
only
must-
time I've ever done it.
She was
that
kind
would
of
make a lot of
narrating it.
sense. Yeah.
Yeah, she was kind of narrating it too. There's a part she's like, "Look up. Do you see the sky?"
Yeah. Well, at the time it was like super, super cool. I mean, back in the first time I did VR was back in the 80s in a nightclub, or late 80s. Yeah. In the nightclub in Pittsburgh. It was just a random VR thing. It was like this big. It was huge. And they had to put you in like a boxing ring, so you wouldn't walk out or something. It was a bizarre experience. It weighed a ton too, but now it's kind of cool. It's pretty neat. Okay, 30 second market challenge. So this is this segment where we throw a challenge at you. We wanted to kind of play with this and expand this segment a bit. So it used to be the marketing genius, and you'd have to do a little sales pitch, but this time we're starting a new trend, and you can do this any way you want, but we want to challenge you with improving the Subpellucid theme song since you're a musician.
Okay.
So we wanted to throw it at you and see what you've got in like 30 seconds or so.
Basically, we want you to do an improv new Subpellucid theme song on your sax.
All right. And you're going to start the clock?
We will start the clock.
Well, should I ask you some questions?
Sure.
You can.
All right. So I know already Subpellucid means murky. What else was the inspiration behind this show? Chad, give me a couple words.
Well, there was a Broadway show called The Play That Goes Wrong, and we thought we could do that on a live stream. Let's do a show where everything just goes to garbage. And I feel like we've pulled that off.
Yeah, definitely. Okay.
No, we wanted a show that wasn't about marketing. It wasn't the typical talking heads. It was just, we wanted it to be about you. We wanted it to be about the people and about the stories and just relaxing. And we didn't want it to be something you could Google a topic to find. It was just
after hours. Just something after hours to relax after a hard day and just enjoy a community of people. We're all remote and just kind of, hang out and do something silly. That's it. That's kind of it. Yeah, sorry, we can't give a clear answer because this is Subpellucid.
It's murky. Well, here you go. Here's your murky theme song.
love it.
Well,
I love it.
That is absolutely it. We got this. This is, I think this is a must do.
Well, it's a one of a kind. I will just give you that. It's one of a kind. It'll never be repeated. So
just like this show, no one will ever attempt to copy the show. This is one thing we've got going for us. There will be no imitations, no copycats.
Well, why would you
always
want to?
be unique.
That's funny.
It's uniquely you. Love it.
There will be just us. Yeah.
I love it.
Sexy Saxman, we did this. Okay, we got to the almost very end of the show. There's only one segment left.
Woo! The crowd goes wild.
Yeah.
It's almost over. All righty. That I believe was a sound effect courtesy of Daniel of a crowd that's been drinking too much. So this last little bit, we call it the 60-second elevator pitch. It's just our way of saying thank you for sticking with us this long, putting up with the nightmare that is Subpellucid and being here. It's your chance to just kind of plug yourself, who you are, what you do, where to find you, whatever message you want to deliver. The elevator's open. We're going to get you in, close it, and then as soon as you hear a ding, the timer will start where the floors will start going up to the 60th floor. That's your kind of your time. So are you ready?
Cool.
Let's get you inside.
Let's do it.
All right.
All right. So I run a here we go. I run a nonprofit called Man in the Pew, maninthepew.com. I'm currently doing a 90-day gratitude challenge. The mission of Man in the Pew is to help Christians build an unstoppable faith that leads to freedom, connection, and kingdom impact. I'm also, in a different hat, writing a book called Unforgettable Events, where the framework of this is this boat back here, the 7 C's of creating amazing events that create a huge transformational impact. As you already know, I'm a jazz saxophonist, so you can find me at philmonius.com. I don't have a website yet for the events book because that's not going to come out until 2022. But those are the 3 things that I would want you to know about: Man in the Pew, philmonius.com, and eventually the book called Unforgettable Events.
Wow. Awesome.
Very nice.
Phil, we appreciate you putting up with the this was definitely one of the craziest tech issues we've had since the first time
Since
we
we completely crashed and couldn't continue the show back in our first episode after like 3 minutes.
Yeah.
And canceled it. So yeah, it's hard to beat that one. That
is hard to beat. Yep.
Yeah. But we pushed through. He persevered, and there's a message behind that. And if you're still here, that's your big takeaway.
The show almost died, and there's something to take away from it.
It was the show must go on, even if you'd rather it didn't.
Well, thank you guys for having me on.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to run our credits because we do want to thank our sponsors like we always do, because more than likely they won't be here next week.
Hopefully this will crack you up. Today, I was pulled into the driveway. I was immediately attacked by 2 sparrows, and they were coming after me hard.
There you go.
I watched that joke like 20 times, and I still don't get it.
There's a whole story in there. I just edited it down.
Oh, you just spoiled my whole butt of the joke.
Yes.
Like my whole I don't get this edit. Nah, come on, Chad.
My bad.
Sharknosis. I thought it was snarknosis, which would be just as funny.
Snark. That's a good one.
Oh, wow.
The story catcher, that's Chad. Ready or not? Yeah, no, ready or not. Yeah, that's more accurate than it sounds. Chad does actually typically prepare quite a bit. Very hard worker. Got to say something nice about Chad after the show, you know.
I believe that.
It's like today it was one, I don't know why the OBS Ninja issue was going on. I'm going to get on Discord in their group and ask them about that, because this happened. I was just having a chat with someone the other day and showing them OBS Ninja, and there was 2 guys in there and they couldn't hear each other. So this is twice it's happened in the last few days. So I'm going to go in and find out about that. And then the other, the reason we lost sound for a minute was weird, but I disconnected my audio interface and put it back and plugged it back on, and then all the sound, my mic fixed and everything. So I don't know.
You know, 9 times out of 10 when people tell me we can't hear you, it's because my mic is on mute.
It's because
how about that for an insight?
Yeah, this is because people private message me and they say, "Hey, would you just turn Daniel off?" Anyway,
it's funny. It's funny because I get the similar messages. Like your co-host is. It's like, why did you pick this guy for your co-host?
What'd you say, Phil?
I won't say it.
Okay. Well, on that note, just so everybody feels a little better, I need to probably stop the live stream. That's probably a good idea.
Again? You left it running again?
I get so into the credits and just the conversation is riveting whenever I'm with you, Daniel, that I lose focus.
Yeah.